start the recording?
I can.
Yeah, let's.
Oh. Look at how tall I was. I'm ready when you are.
Okay. Sorry. Good morning and welcome to the May 20th Planning Commission. We'll go ahead and get started. We have a few commissioners in person and also some joining online. Larissa, could you go ahead and start with the introductory remarks?
I am going to describe the testimony procedure for this hybrid meeting. For those attending online, know that there are two categories of people participating in the meeting, attendees and panelists. Right now, the only panelists are the commission members and city staff. If you are an applicant or a member of the public who would like to testify regarding a case, please use the raise hand function when the case is announced to let staff know you would like to speak. There is a ribbon at the bottom of your Zoom screen with a hand icon. Click this to raise your hand to request to speak on a case. You will need to accept the promotion to panelist in order to speak, and it may appear temporarily as if you have been disconnected. However, don't panic, you will reconnect shortly. If you are calling in on a phone line, your screen name appears as your phone number, and you can raise your hand to speak when the case is called by pressing star followed by the number 9. When you are promoted to panelist, the chair would like for you to turn on your camera so that the commission can see you when it is your time to speak. Your microphone needs to always be on mute unless you are giving testimony at the appropriate time. When you are called upon, you will be able to share your screen to display exhibits, and the chat box is only for questions about the agenda, and merits of each case should not be discussed in the chat box. For those joining us in person, applicants may be seated at the center desk when the case is called, and members of the public who would like to speak may approach the microphone on the podium located to the left of the seating area when the chair calls for public testimony. If you are in person, there's no need for you to be on the Zoom meeting, as well as joining the meeting in both manners causes a lot of unnecessary feedback and audio disruptions. Please keep silent or mute all electronic devices and be quiet when entering and exiting the hearing room. The commission has established time limits for all testimony during the meeting. You will be given 2 minutes to testify when speaking as an individual, or 5 minutes if you represent an organization, such as a neighborhood association, HOA, CID, or business association. And that's all.
Thank you. We look forward to hearing your case today. Every project is important and unique. We want to make sure we address every docketed item with the attention it deserves, building consensus between the applicant, public, and city staff. We believe we will reach that consensus by being brief yet heard, following the rules and procedures that were just outlined. We'll go ahead and start with the consent docket today, which we just have one item, consent docket item C1.
Item C1 is case number CD CPC 2026-00052, a request to approve a project plan in District R-7.5 on about 1 acre generally located at the southeast corner of North Mulberry Street and North Hickory Street, allowing for the landscaping of 2 private open space tracts. Staff is recommending approval with conditions.
Are there any questions for city staff on docket item C1? No questions from the commissioners online or in person. We'll now open it up for public testimony. If there's anyone from the public wishing to speak on docket item C1, please either come forward or raise your hand on Zoom.
No one appears with their hand raised or in person.
With that, I'll look for a motion.
Motion to approve consent docket item C1.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve docket item C1 with conditions. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, please say nay. And any abstentions? All right, docket item C1 is approved. We'll now move to the regular agenda, beginning with the items that are to be continued to a later date.
The continuances start with item 6.1. It's case number CD CPC 2026-41, a request to approve an amendment to the Greater Downtown Area Plan from residential low density to residential high density for a multi-unit residential building on about 0.147 acres, generally located at 2922 Summit Street. 6.2 is a request to CD CPC 2026-39, a request to approve a rezoning without plan from R-6 to R-1.5 for a multi-unit residential building on about 0.147 acres, generally located at 2922 Summit Street. Docket item number 7, and both of those are continuance without fee to June 3rd. Docket item number 7 is CD CPC 2026-00056, amending section 88445-09 and section 88445-11, expanding eligibility regarding council-approved signage plans. This continuance date is different than what is stated on your docket. This is a continuance without fee to June 17th. Docket items 8.1, 8.2, and 8.3 are companion cases. 8.1 is CD CPC 2026-29, a request to approve an amendment to the KCI area plan from residential low density to commercial. 8.2 CPC 2026-28, a request to approve a rezoning from District AG-R to B4-1. And 8.3 CPC 2026-27, a request to approve a non-residential development plan to allow a variety of uses and multiple buildings on one lot in proposed District B4-1. And all of these are on about 23 acres located at 12220 Northwest Skyview Avenue. And that is recommended to be continue with fee to July 15th. Those are all the continuances.
You said with fee with this last one?
Correct.
Thank you. Are there any questions on the continuances of docket items 6.1, 6.2, 7, 8.1, 8.2, or 8.3?
And Commissioner Crowell has his
Yep.
hand raised.
Yeah, I was kind of curious on docket item 8, 1, 2, and 3. I know there's a lot of work that the applicant needed to do and work with the city on that. Has any of that occurred? Because when they actually brought their case in, we thought, they'd be able to address it within a month, and now we're extending it another month and a half. So I'm just curious on that one.
Yes, Chair Crowell, the applicant has been working with staff to revise the plans as you all discussed in the last meeting. They haven't revised them quite enough, so we're still working out some changes that need to be made. They also are in the process of seeking a variance with the Board of Zoning Adjustment for having gravel on their site. So we want to get them a little bit further into that process before we come back and present revised plans to you all.
Okay. Okay. So it's kind of a combination between staff and the applicant to make sure they get everything addressed then prior to coming back.
Yes, and they've agreed to this continuance.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Crowell. Any other questions for city staff on docket items 6, 7, or 8?
Yeah, just to make sure I didn't mishear, it was to the 17th for the docket item number 8,
Docket item number 8 is July 15th,
July 15th. Okay.
and docket item number 7 is June 17th.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
All right, at this time, we'll now open it up for anyone from the public wishing to speak on the continuance of docket items 6.1, 6.2, 7, 8.1, 8.2, or 8.3. If you wish to speak on the continuance of those items, please raise your hand online or come forward in person.
No one has their hand raised online and no one appears at the podium.
This time, we'll close all testimony on those docket items, and I'll look for a motion.
Motion to continue docket items 6.1 and 6.2 without fee to June 3rd. Docket item number 7 without fee to June 17th, and docket items 8.1, 0.2, and 0.3 with fee to July 15th.
Second.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to continue docket items 6, 7, and 8 as stated. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, please say nay. And any abstentions? Those docket items are continued. We'll now move to docket item number 1.
Docket item number 1 is CD CPC 2026-48, a request to approve a rezoning from District M1-5 to District KCIA on about 587 acres, generally located between Lou Holland Drive and North Broadway Freeway. Staff presenting is Genevieve Conn-Smith.
Good morning, Commissioners. For you, we have docket item number 1, which is a rezoning without a plan at the downtown airport, which is located just north of the Missouri River. Here's the subject site highlighted in yellow. Currently shows on our parcel viewer as 2 parcels. There's a couple of small ones all mixed in, but it's all for the airport operations. And just to give you a look at what our area plan, Greater Downtown Area Plan recommends for this area, it does recommend industrial uses as the site is currently zoned M1-5. And so our long-range planners, in their analysis of this rezoning, did state that it would have a high alignment as the downtown airport is, there's storage of planes and equipment, which is generally industrial in nature. However, this came to our attention because there's some proposed development here, which I'll let the applicant speak more about. But in reviewing this proposed development, the planning staff thought it would be more advantageous for them to rezone the site from an M1 to the KCIA zoning district because, fun fact, the only part in our zoning code that mentions anything about airports is in the KCIA zoning district. So you would think this is a very intense use, so an industrial zoning district would and has worked for it, but it's not expressly permitted. So in order to make projects go more streamlined in the future, we did suggest rezoning this area. And again, to give you a little bit more background, I've got some fun pictures here. But the airport, in my research of this, was established in 1927, shortly after the city's first zoning code in 1923. And that 1923 code classified aviation fields as a special class zoning district, which lumped together with refuse dumps, amusement parks, and cemeteries. So it's always been treated as something a little bit special. And then moving on to the 1954 zoning code, again, it was treated as a special class that was allowed in any zoning district with a special use permit. And so it's been a legally non-conforming use for a very long time. And I have some old views and some current or 2024 views of the site. 1950s here. But really, we're just looking to give the downtown airport the most appropriate zoning district for any future development that they want for expanding there. And as many situations like this with nonconformities have come before you, when you expand a nonconformity, it loses its nonconforming status. So again, that's why we're suggesting the KCIA zoning district. And with that, staff is recommending approval, and I can take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for city staff at this time? And could we go ahead and stop sharing so I can see if Chair Crowell and Commissioner Forbes have any questions? Thank you. All right. If there are no questions at this time, we'll welcome the applicant to hear about the future development.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. My name's Mike Waller. I'm the airport planning manager for the aviation department. The 21-acre leasehold is being developed by Airside Innovation Missouri LLC. They were selected via an RFP process by the city in 24-25, and Airside was one of 6 responding parties to the RFP. The development is Apex Aero Center, represents a $55 million private capital investment in aeronautical improvements at MKC and general aviation users, including corporate and business aircraft. So build out of this 21-acre parcel will include facilities to serve nearly 40 based aircraft, 40,000 gallons of Jet A fuel, plus another 12,000 gallons of aviation gas or avgas, 12,000 square foot passenger terminal building, 150,000 square feet of hangar floor space, 6,000 square feet of shop space, and this is attached to the hangars. 15,000 square feet of office space also attached to the hangars. 157 auto parking stalls and 35,000 square yards of aircraft apron, or 7 acres, to accommodate obviously a significant development representing the significance of the market share of MKC within the central United States.
Thank you. And can you give us a sense of the intended timing of when different parts of this project would come forward?
Preliminary engineering is underway. The intent is to have it to start construction to be significantly complete in 2027.
Thank you. All right. Are there any questions for the applicant?
Maybe this is for the city. I'm just kind of curious. So rezoning this to the KCIA, is there anything that they should be aware of having this that's a little bit different that they're going to have to jump through? If there's any like requirements of their projects that they wouldn't have as part of the current zoning that they have, the M15?
So to answer that question, the rezoning to KCI would actually do kind of the opposite of that. I would say under the current zoning, it's much more cumbersome in doing development plans and subsequent project plans, whereas the KCIA zoning district is meant specifically for airport operations and gives additional flexibility for really any use associated with an airport, and then just requires a final site plan review. So I would say that this zoning takes away potential obstacles that would delay future development, either for this development or development beyond.
And if I may, MKC, its most recent airport master plan has a planning horizon of 20 years. And within that planning horizon, there are additional capital development, landside or terminal area capital improvements proposed over the next 5, 10, and 20 years. And so changing the zoning to KCIA will assist us with the development in those parcels as well in the future. So it would be more streamlined, that would allow the airport to serve its users, serve its tenants, and continue to provide very, very important service to the Kansas City area.
Okay, and just a kind of follow-up question with that, in the spirit of Commissioner Enders, would this then also help move any new development or projects you do around the downtown airport, so it can be administratively approved versus coming through the commission? Is that part of the streamlined process?
Yes, the development or any future plan, really, whether it's one building or as many square feet as Mike mentioned, that will be administratively reviewed and approved, and then they can continue on to their building plans and permits.
Okay, so they wouldn't have to come before this body, in the future or whatever. It's
That's
part of
right.
this. Okay. All right, no further questions.
I just had one question. Are we going to expand the hours of operation, or what is the current hours of operation?
The airport is a 24/7, 365 facility.
Okay. That's all for me.
Thanks. Any other questions for the applicant? All right, at this time, we'll open it up for public testimony. If there's anyone from the public wishing to speak on docket item 1, please come forward or raise your hand on Zoom.
No one appears with their hand raised or has approached the podium.
All right, we'll close public testimony. And before we close, applicant, are there any other things you'd like to add?
No, I don't believe so. I just appreciate your consideration, or we, the aviation department, appreciate your consideration.
And then to continue the line of questioning, just because this is relatively a unique situation for us, can you all just help us understand? So it sounds like this will be, the RFP was won. There's a relatively certain plan laid out. And so you're looking to be substantially complete by 2027. So this will be something that goes through an administrative process all in one fell swoop, one development plan, will not have a public component beyond what's just happened today.
That's Correct.
Yeah, and we also had, during the master plan that was recently completed, we also had multiple workshops, public workshops, and we also had a planning advisory committee associated with that project involving local stakeholders, both, government, private business, and obviously federal partners too. And so there was a very robust public component or outreach during that process as well. And with this also development was included in those outreach.
And
Workshops.
looks like Aviation Director Melissa Cooper is going to.
Yes, yeah, we are, yes, the aviation department, we already have a lease in place. And the developer, Airside Innovation, is working with us, the FAA, and obviously the city to get this thing going.
Great. And then I'll just add that because again, this is a relatively unique process or proposal. The next step would be at City Council, so there's one more opportunity for public engagement. But with that, again, we'll close all public testimony, and I'll look for a motion.
Motion to approve docket item number 1 without conditions.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve docket item number 1 without conditions. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Arkin,
Aye.
Crowell,
Aye.
Enders,
Aye.
Forbes,
Aye.
Essick,
Aye.
Lynch,
Aye.
Morel,
Aye.
Padilla.
All right, docket item number 1 is approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're now ready for docket item 2,
2.1 and 2.2.
2.1 and 2.2, both.
Docket item 2.1 and 2.2 are companion cases. 2.1 is CD CPC 2026-38, a request to approve a rezoning from District R-80 to District R-7.5 on about 87 acres. And 2.2 is CPC 2026-37, a request to approve a development plan also serving as a preliminary plat in District R-80 to allow for a residential development on about 87 acres generally located at the southeast corner of Northeast Staley Road and Northeast Shoal Creek Parkway. And Matthew Barnes is the staff planner.
Okay, good morning. Matthew Barnes from City Planning and Development, presenting on behalf of Justin Smith for docket item number 2, which is a rezoning and development plan for Pure Staley. Site is located in the Northland, generally located at 10501 Northeast Staley Road, within the First Council District, and within the Shoal Creek Valley Area Plan. You can see its location just south of Staley High School, there to the north, and then more residential to the south. Here's just a view looking east at the site from Staley Road. Looking north from Staley Road, you can see it's mostly undeveloped now. And looking southeast from Northeast Shoal Creek Parkway, and here's looking southwest from that same street. To the right is Staley High School. The applicant is proposing a rezoning from R80 to R7.5 to allow for 200 single-unit residential lots. This will be conducted in 5 phases. This plan does not specify any building footprint or locations. Those will come through as is typical for single-unit detached homes with each site plan. There are 17 tracks for stormwater management and parkland dedication. At this location, Northeast Shoal Creek Parkway is a parkway. So anything that's abutting that must follow section 88323. The applicant is providing a 60-foot no-build landscape buffer there shown in red to comply with this parkway and boulevard standards. Site has 3 access points shown here with the red arrows. This has been reviewed by Public Works and our traffic impact study has shown this as adequate. The applicant has submitted a street tree planning plan, which is in conformance with 8842503. This does not show the landscaping for the private open space tracks, which will be reviewed prior to recording of the final plat. They wanted to highlight that Public Works did add a condition that the developer shall make financial contribution for right-of-way dedications in lieu of hash street improvements on Staley Road. That will be negotiated with the City of Kansas City, Missouri Public Works Department and shouldn't exceed over $500,000. And that will go towards engineering right away and construction of improvements to Shoal Creek Parkway once that's further improved. Staff is requesting that the following condition be added. This is a standard condition that just allows us to review these private open space tracks. It was not included with the original condition packet. That is that prior to the recording of the final plat, the developer shall secure approval of a project plan from the CPC for each private open space tract. With that, staff recommends approval of the rezoning and approval with subject to conditions of the development plan for Pierce Daily, and I can take any questions.
Would it be possible for you to share on your screen the conditions and kind of scroll through them or give us a cursory review of them? I don't believe they were included in the staff report.
Give me 1 second.
Thanks. And we certainly don't need to go through them one by one, but especially since we're amending the conditions, it'd be nice to have an overview and understand that I imagine most of them are relatively standard.
I can also share my screen.
You have it.
Okay, one moment.
While you're looking for that, I had a question.
Mhm.
What's the timing of the improvements to Shoal Creek Parkway? Does this kind of trigger, okay, we need to take it a little bit more serious because we've had a couple of projects around Staley High School that are now, there's gonna be a lot more activity up there. Does this kind of start triggering that we gotta get serious about expanding that?
I am not aware of any discussions that were had. The applicant, I don't know if they were in any discussions.
Nick
Boston
Boston is here.
happens to be here, so he's gonna come answer that.
Yes, good morning. My name is Nicholas Bostonetto, city engineer. Yes, there's a lot of growth around Shoal Creek Parkway. Staley High School's growing. They're putting in a new bus barn there. And last time we were up there, people are complaining about the traffic with the school and also the elementary school. So what's going to happen here is with the applicants, support towards a financial and right away, we're going to put that towards engineering. And move the engineering forward for Shoal Creek Parkway. We've also put in an application this round with Mark for federal funding. And then we also will go for some local funding. So this money will be used for engineering to get us to, towards a project. And then we're already applying for grants and things like that. And we're thinking about improving Shoal Creek Parkway all the way, Maple Woods all the way to 108th? Yes, 108th, which is improved. So we're thinking about doing that segment next, and we think it's about time.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And I do have the conditions ready to share.
Great.
Okay. It's a total of 57 conditions. So I'll just scroll through them. They do look like our standard conditions for the most part. Let me know if you want me to go faster or slower.
Question number 3. Isn't that supposed to be 60 feet? Isn't that what it just said?
There is the way the section 88323 reads, I believe there's a requirement that 30 foot of it is a easement granted to the parkway system, and then you have that 30-foot buffer.
The first 30 feet of. Okay.
And then would one of you mind just as we go through like number 1, if you go back up, if you just say kind of like number 1, street name plan, number 2,
This is our standard landscaping affidavit for trees that were preserved and planted for tree preservation and mitigation. Number 3 is again that 30-foot for landscape buffer for an easement. Number 4, screening of roof and ground-mounted mechanical and utility equipment. Number 5 is a prior to certificate of occupancy. The developer, this is an affidavit for street tree installment as well. Number 6 is an affidavit for landscaping that's been installed according to the plan. Number 7, developer shall record a covenant to maintain that no-build landscape buffer. And then number 8 is the condition we discussed in the PowerPoint regarding Shoal Creek Parkway. Number 9 is our standard all signage shall conform to 88445. Number 10 is that prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy for the first house, the developer shall post a sign at the end of all stub streets stating that a future street will be connected. And number 11, the developer applicant shall provide design guidelines prior to ordinance request. Do you want me to do that with all of them?
If you don't mind,
Okay.
yeah, I think only a few more minutes, but I think it's worthwhile.
Oh, that's fine. Number 12, fire hydrants shall be installed and operable prior to the arrival of any material. 13, all roads shall be an all-weather surface. The developer shall provide an approved turnaround feature. Developer shall provide fire flow or shall meet fire flow requirements. 16, 1 and 2 family residential developments of this size shall have 2 access roads. Number 17, when 2 access roads are required, they will be a specific distance apart. 18, turning radius for fire department roads shall be 30 feet and 50 feet on the outside radius. 19, fire hydrant distribution shall follow the IFC. 20, fire department access roads shall support the fire apparatuses. 21, fire hydrants shall be within 400 feet of a fire access road. 22, fire department access road shall be a minimum of 20 feet wide and 13 feet 0.6 in clearance. 23, developer shall provide fire access roads prior to construction and demolition. Moving on to our parks and recreation, 24 is our parkland dedication condition. 25 is again that streetscape plan with street tree planting. 26 is the developer shall be responsible for tree preservation in an easement or platted tract. Moving on to public works, the developer must subordinate all private interests in the area in accordance with Chapter 88. Number 28 shall make a financial contribution and right-of-way contribution in lieu of half-street improvements. 29, the developer shall integrate into the streetlight system. 30, the developer shall submit a streetscape plan to Land Development Division. 31, the applicant shall submit construction plans in compliance with adopted standards for the improvements as required by the traffic study. 32, developer shall submit vertical and horizontal site distance for drive connections to the public rights of way. 33, after the City Plan Commission enters its disposition for the plan, the developer shall not enter into any agreements that would encumber or otherwise have any impact on the proposed right-of-way dedications. 34, developer must design and construct all interior public streets to city standards. 35, the developer shall dedicate additional right-of-way in coordination with the Parks Department as required by Chapter 88. The developer shall pay impact fees. 37, the developer shall construct temporary off-site cul-de-sacs. Moving on to water, this is ensuring that the developer shall ensure that water and fire service lines meet Water Service Department rules. 39, no water service tap permits will be issued until the water main is released for taps. 40, the developer shall submit water main extensions following KC water rules and regulations for water main extensions. 41, the developer shall obtain the executed and recorded city-approved grading temporary construction that may be required prior to submitting any public improvements. 42, all agreements and easement documents shall be submitted using IB 159 for review and approval prior to the issuance of permits. 43 is our plating requirement. 44, the developer shall submit covenants, conditions, and restrictions to KC Water for maintenance of any private open space tracts and stream buffer zones prior to recording the plat. 45 is our macro drainage study with the first plat or phase. 46 is the developer shall grant a BMP to or surface drainage easement to the city as required by KC Water. 47, developer shall submit a preliminary stream buffer plan. 48, developer shall submit an analysis to verify adequate capacity of the existing sewer system. 49, developer shall show the limits of the 100-year floodplain on the final plat. 50, the developer shall submit plans for grading, siltation, and erosion control. 51, developer shall secure permits to extend public sanitary and stormwater conveyance. 52, developer shall submit a final stream buffer to KC Water for approval prior to the issuance of permits. 53, developer shall grant on city forms a stream buffer easement. 54, the developer shall obtain a floodplain development permit for any activities within the floodplain. 55, the developer shall submit covenants, conditions, and restrictions for the maintenance of any private open space or stream buffer zones. 56, the developer shall enter into a covenant agreement for the maintenance of any stormwater detention tracts. And then 57 is for townhouse developments, include sanitary and water service lines that are required for each unit.
Great, thanks so much, Larissa. And then we have the additional condition, which was noted. If there are no questions from the commission for city staff at this time, which I don't think there are, then we'll move to welcome the applicant. Applicant, welcome. We're ready for your all's presentation.
Yeah, Michael Heitzman with Peer Development. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to us and hear us out here. We've had a great time working with the city and pushing this through. The development we're working on here is, as was mentioned by Matt earlier, just north of Staley Farms Golf Course, just south of Staley High School and Bell Prairie Elementary School. We are proposing 200 units on the site, mixture of 3 different single-family detached products going into that. A little more 1/3 acre plus estate lots, then 1/4 acre plus Staley Hills type product, and then a maintenance-free development down at the far east end of the neighborhood for more villa-style single-family detached houses for a lot of the community in there. It's a huge need. The estate lots, we are planning on doing a gated community there. There are some things we've had to work with the city that the staff has kind of pushed us to do. But we've been working with city council on that as how to mitigate or adjust that. And city staff has been willing to work with us, as was mentioned previously, with the land dedication, right-of-way dedication, and then funds in lieu of half-street improvements. We do have some concerns with some water line extensions that are being requested. But we understand the city's staff stance on that, as we are being forced to do something that other developers, including the city, was not required to do. But we understand how the staff is just following their rules and regulations on us as developers. So that's something we feel that needs to just go before city council and can be addressed there. Outside of that, the right-of-way, I actually live up in that area and have kids in that world of age group out there. And I know that Shoal Creek and that entry from Falcon Drive off of Staley Road and along Shoal Creek is very dangerous right now. And that was a big piece of why we are dedicating part of that right away to the city so they can improve that intersection there and make it safer for kids to get in and out of that high school. We also went through, and one of the things we did right away is clean up the intersection of Staley Road and Olive, which is right by the clubhouse, as that was another dangerous. I personally know 2 kids that have gotten into car accidents at that corner. And so we did that right away to help improve the site visibility. And we are excited to work with the city and bring these additional 200 lots and houses to the Northland. So anything else, I'd be more than happy to answer questions for you.
Great, thank you.
I just have two questions, not for the applicant, kind of for the city, just because you mentioned the whole extension. We've seen this pretty much every time a development like this comes through, and I've heard it now 2 or 3 times stated that other developments haven't been required to do that, but it seems like everything that comes through here, it is required. I've never heard of it not required. Extending the line to the next lot, right, is essentially what the requirement is. Are there people getting variances for that, or is that, or not? It's just a information thing. I'd like to know so that next time we hear it, we can either say, no, that doesn't happen, or it does happen.
Yeah, and like you said, it's a requirement staff generally asks for. I know there has been previous deviations from that, but Luke Casper from Water Services is online. He
Yeah.
might be able to speak on that.
That'd be great. Yeah. Luke, can you shed some light on that? Maybe.
Yeah, hi. I apologize. What is the question? What are we talking about?
We're
The
talking
lines?
about, there was a comment by the applicant about the kind of requirement to extend the water line. I mean, it's water and then also sewer lines to the edge of the property essentially, which we've heard quite a bit in the past couple of months on cases. And there's been a couple applicants that have mentioned that it's been not required on certain projects but being required on others. Is that correct, that there's variances, or?
It could be, what you're saying about it could be required on some projects versus others. That's probably correct. Generally, what we look at when we're reviewing these is if there's, additional future development that's going to need to be served by those extensions. And so in this situation, the reason that Kirk has the comment to extend those to the limits of the property would be to pick up, future development on adjacent properties.
So I guess my question there is, how far in the future are we looking? Because there's going to be future development in every project, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. So I guess,
Sure.
do we have a limit saying?
It really depends on the lay of the land and how the gravity flows take place. There could be a situation where it doesn't have to be extended because it's not picking up the water, for the watershed. Depending on how the watersheds lay, is how we determine whether that, adjacent property is going to need to be served by that extension in the future.
Okay. The only reason I ask is it sounds like some applicants have had confusion there. And I just want to, maybe there's a better way to communicate that and what that means, so that there's less questions and just can streamline the process a little bit better. It's my only thought there.
Yeah, I think in some ways this is a nice solution in that the applicant recognizes that I think the city is better off when the planning commission and staff provide consistency. And if council wants to do otherwise, that's the right place for that to happen.
Agreed. Just thought I'd bring it up because
Yeah.
we've had it quite a bit. The other thing I want to ask, and this is also for staff, the conversation, I can't remember what condition it was, but it's the tree. I brought it up before. Are we looking at, I'd mentioned changing it to, because we saw a case where they were able to remove trees because they had a bunch of wetlands that had trees that was counting towards that. But if that's not buildable property, to me, that doesn't make sense as the ability. So I asked staff if they could look into potentially having some sort of adjustment there, because if it's not buildable, then that should not be counted towards the allowable coverage. But I just wanted to bring that up. It doesn't affect this. It was just a general note.
We'll check on that.
All right, thank you.
Any further questions from the commission to the applicant?
I had a quick question. So on the plans, the red line going through, is that like a walking trail?
Yes, there's a trail network that goes through the site that connects a few of the cul-de-sacs, as well goes adjacent to the creek there.
Okay.
Shown as a red line.
And I'm assuming there's going to be sidewalks throughout the development.
That is correct.
Okay, awesome. And my final question, do you have an idea of what the different price points starting would be for each one of these sections?
Are you talking about lot price or house price?
Uh, let's start off the lot price first, and then just a general idea of what it would cost for the basic starting, just be able to get into the market. So your basic structure.
Yeah, our estate lots, and again, this is on the low end and kind of early on, but are looking to be around 200,000 per lot on those within the gated community. It might raise up from there as we get closer to it and depending upon time frame.
Right.
The next lots, quarter acre Staley Hill size property, we're looking at around 120, 115 to 120,000 a lot. And then the maintenance free lots are around 80, 85 a lot. And then house price, the estates will be $1 million plus houses in there. The Staley Hills will be anywhere from 500 to 800 probably, depending on the specs, and then probably 450 to 650 on the villa.
Okay. Thank you.
And then Commissioner Forbes and Chair Crowell, just so you all know, the way that Zoom works, because other people have spoken, I can't see you now. So if you were to nod your head or motion, I wouldn't. Oh,
There we
we
go.
changed it. Okay, we can see you now. Okay, all right. If there are no further questions, we will open it up for public testimony. If there's anyone from the public wishing to speak on docket items 2.1 and 2.2, please either come forward or raise your hand on Zoom.
No one has raised their hand on Zoom or approached the podium.
All right, we'll close all public testimony. Applicant, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, not at this time.
All right, thank you. We'll close all testimony and I'll look for a motion.
Motion to approve docket item 2.1 without conditions and 2.2 with conditions stated, with the addition of a condition stating, quote, that the prior to recording the final plat, the developer shall secure approval of the project plan from the City Plan Commission for each private open space tract.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve docket items 2.1 and 2.2 as stated. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, the project is approved. Good luck with the project. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. We're now ready for docket item number 3.
Docket item number 3 is case CD CPC 2026-42, a request to approve a development plan acting as a preliminary plat to permit more than one primary structure on the same lot in an R-80 zoning district on about 19.7 acres generally located at 11611 Blue River Road. And Connor Tomlin is presenting on this case. Ready when you- Is your applicant online?
I don't know.
If you are the applicant on this case and you are online, please raise your hand. And so I'm promoting Elaine Edson. All right.
Can you see me?
We can see you. I'm gonna go ahead and put you on mute until Connor finishes his presentation. Great.
Give me just a second here. Okay, docket item 3, CDCPC 2026-00042. Also, I'm Connor Tomlin, Development Management Division. I'm presenting on behalf of Stephanie Saldari today. So this is the whole farm, 11 Blue River Road. This is the general location of the site just northwest of Grandview. You have a closer look at the site here outlined in yellow. You'll see that there's an existing structure on the site that is currently serving as the principal structure. It's kind of a barn with an ADU attached.
So here you're looking east on 116th Street, and then this is looking west on East 116th Street. And here's a bit of a picture from Google Street View of what that looks like on the site, that barn with the attached ADU. So this request is a development plan for two principal structures on the lot. Uh, as I said, there's the existing barn with the ADU attached, and the size and location of the proposed building would have changed that existing building from a principal structure to an accessory structure. That said, accessory structures cannot be located in the front yard, and this would have caused that to happen. So there were two options proposed to the applicant. They could either apply for a variance to the location of an accessory structure, or they could apply for a development plan to have two principal structures on the lot, and they opted to go with the development plan route.
Question,
Yes,
could they have option 3 split the lot and then had
that is a possibility. Yes, I believe it would have been more involved.
yeah, except there wouldn't have been a review process, right?
Right. There,
Or out. this
yeah,
review.
development plan wise, there would not have been the need for a development plan.
Okay. Just wanted to check.
Of course. So this is the site plan that was proposed. You can see there is a new drive extending here off to the east. This dark gray area here is the new home. You'll see something to the northeast of that as well. That is going to be an additional accessory structure. And then a small gray box here is a proposed greenhouse. And the lot here, well, it's currently in application for a lot line adjustment to extend that lot further to the east as well. And you'll see these hatched lines here. That is the tree preservation. So, not preservation, those are the trees that are being removed. And there's going to be 1.47 acres of tree canopy removed, though 7.1 will remain, and it's going to screen both primary or principal structures. And you'll see here all these dark black lines. Those are trails that are being proposed as well on the site. So these are just some elevations of the principal structure here. Let me check with those. Materials were really quick. It would be wood look, rain screen, slate masonry, natural greystone, and genuine stucco. Some more elevations of that principal structure. And then here on the top, you have the greenhouse and the barn below. And the barn contains those same materials as the principal structure. Again, here's just another look at that site plan in a bit more detail. And moving forward here to the review criteria, criteria A is not met. Everything else is here. The greenhouse encroaches into the front yard. So again, an accessory structure in the front yard. However, there is a condition to revise the site plan prior to ordinance request to alleviate that issue. And then moving on to the rest of the review criteria, criteria G is not met, and there's a condition from Parks that the applicant will need to provide a streetscape plan prior to starting work within the public right-of-way. With
Can
that,
you, can you go back to that? What is the criteria that's not met on that one?
criteria G, so landscaping, berms, fences, and or walls must be provided to buffer the site from undesirable views, noises, lighting, or other off-site negative influences,
Wh-
and to buffer adjacent properties.
Which one is that? Is it light or what is it that it's not meeting?
It was the landscaping
Yeah,
that needs to be provided.
yeah, exactly.
Landscaping.
Okay, all right, gotcha.
And with all that said, staff recommends approval with those conditions.
I guess, sorry, back to that one condition. What is the undesirable view that's needing buffered?
Do you happen to have the conditions list?
Because I definitely understand it, but it sounds, I'm not seeing an undesirable view from the elevations.
The code also states that we require street trees as well, and so that could be encapsulating that, but I'll pull up the conditions list right now.
Gotcha. The way it reads is that those need to be provided from undesirable views, noise, light, or other off-site negative influences. So I just want to know, and to buff. Oh, there we go. That's what it is. Didn't read it fully. There we go. And to buffer adjacent properties from, well, no, negative influence. So I don't know what the negative aspect is. Or
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it might pass all review criteria.
That's my only thought.
Okay, are there other questions for city staff?
Is this just going to be someone's private home?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so East 116th Street is a privately owned street. This is someone's private property.
And the only reason it's coming through us is because the accessory structure is where it is.
Yeah, please do stop sharing. Thanks.
Sure.
All right, if there are no further questions for staff at this time, then we'll welcome the applicant.
Hi, I am the architect speaking on behalf of the client. We didn't have much more than what was in the presentation there. This, as you mentioned, this is intended to be a private residence. We went this direction to avoid seeking variances and do things properly based off of staff recommendation.
Right, and you're aware of and comfortable with all conditions?
We are aware of the conditions. We have similar thoughts on the streetscape trees, and they're we understand in large. We also do like large multifamily developments. We understand the screening necessities, especially when there are parking lots and whatnot. But we would agree that these are not undesirable views that need screening.
All right, thank you. If there's nothing further, then we'll go ahead and open it up for public testimony. Well, or is there, does anyone from the commission have any questions for the applicant? All right, then at this time, we'll go ahead and open it up for public testimony. If there's anyone from the public wishing to speak on docket item number 3, please come forward or raise your hand on Zoom.
No one has raised their hand online or appears in person.
All right, we'll close public testimony. Applicant, is there anything else you'd like to add?
I do not believe so.
All right, and then if there's no further discussion, I'll close all testimony and look for a motion.
Motion to approve docket item number 3 with conditions stated.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve docket item number 3 with conditions. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Docket item number 3 passes. Good luck with the project. Thank you very much. We're now ready for docket item number 4.
Docket item number 4 is CD ROW 2025-39, a request to approve a vacation of right-of-way in District R80 on about 72,000 square feet, generally located north of Bannister Road between Nolan Road and Valley Garden Drive. And I'll be presenting on behalf of Justin Smith, and if it's all right, I'll stay in this spot. Great. I will share my screen. Okay. So as I mentioned, this is docket item number 4 for the vacation of right-of-way for Unity Ridge and Gardens. This is the subject location. It's located in the southeast of the city. Here's a view of the site. It's currently 2 parcels separated by a paper street. You can see highlighted in yellow. This is part of the Unity Ridge and Gardens subdivisions. It was platted in 1929, and within that plat, there was Boggs Hollow Road, again highlighted in yellow. It's approximately 72,000 square feet, and it was to serve as a future access from Valley Garden Drive to Noland Road. The vacation request is to vacate all of Boggs Hollow Road, as it was never built. There are no utilities within the right-of-way, and it will allow the applicant to further subdivide the property to the north and the south. Here is a view of Valley Garden Drive, and then a view from State Highway. Staff is recommending approval of this vacation of right-of-way, and I can answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for city staff? Seeing none, we will welcome the applicant.
If you are the applicant, oh, okay. I am promoting Adam Murray. Adam, you will need to accept the promotion.
I did, I thought.
Okay.
We can hear you now.
We can
Welcome,
hear you.
Adam.
Hi.
We're ready for any presentation you may have or any comments you'd like to add.
I mean, there's really not much. Basically, they're just wanting to sell it. And there's a separate owner on the southwest that they're going to sell roughly 5 acres to. And they're just kind of clearing everything up, getting rid of the right of way. It's not there. It's already been, there was further right of way on the west side of Nolan. It's already been vacated. It's just kind of cleaning everything up, and so there's no future problems.
Understood. Thank you. Are there any questions from the commission to the applicant? Seeing none, we'll open it up for public testimony. If there's anyone from the public wishing to speak on docket item number 4, please come forward or raise your hand on Zoom.
No one appears on Zoom with their hand raised or in person.
All right, we'll close all public testimony. Applicant, is there anything else you'd like to add before we take a vote?
No, there's not.
All right, we'll close all testimony. Unless there are any other comments, I'll look for a motion.
Motion to approve docket item number 4 without conditions.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve docket item number 4 without conditions. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Docket item number 4 is approved. We're now ready for docket item number 5.
Docket item number 5 is CD SUP 2026-20, a request to approve a special use permit for a gasoline and fuel sales establishment in an M1-5 zoning district on about 0.314 acres, generally located at 840 North Montgall Avenue, and Alec Gustafson is the staff planner.
Is the applicant available for this one?
Yes, they have raised their hand, and I will promote Inscape Band.
Should be Dana Bly.
I don't see Dana Blay on here, but okay. Inscape Bland, can you unmute and confirm your name?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, this is Dana Blay with DBL Architecture. 8031 Wenonga Road, Leawood, Kansas.
Great, thank you. I will put you on mute until Alec has finished his presentation.
Thank you.
Good morning, Planning Commission. My name is Alec Gustafson, Development Management Division. This is docket item number 5, CD SUP 2026-20, North Montgall Gasoline and Convenience Store Special Use Permit. The site is located at 840 North Montgall in the northeast. This is just an overview of the site. It is along Nicholson Avenue and North Montgall Avenue in an M15 zoning district. A little bit of case history. There is a certificate of legal nonconforming use application for this gasoline and fuel sales use that is currently under review. And just to show you that nonconforming gasoline and fuel sales section of code that requires certificate of legal nonconforming use to be applied for during or prior to the special use permit. This is a view from North Montgall as of just a couple months ago, March 2026. This is a view of the gas station a little further down North Montgall. As you can see, the building is kind of tucked into the corner of the site, and the canopies are closer to the northeast. And then this is a view from Nicholson Avenue, also in March of 2026. The plans proposed do not change the canopies. It only really moves the convenience store building. It moves it from being just in that southwest corner to basically being along the entire south border. And it's still at a slight angle, but making it much larger The plans also propose more parking. It also proposes landscaping around the dumpster and landscaping along Nicholson and North Montgall Avenue, as well as landscaping to the south of the lot behind the building. As you can also see in this site plan, there is an existing building shown on the plan that is directly south of the property line. This building is either to be demolished or has been demolished, but permits have been pulled for that home, leaving that property vacant. This is the lighting plan that was proposed. There's no overspill lighting along the perimeter of the property other than on the south. Staff believes that landscaping along that south border will also help to shield the residential neighborhoods on the south border. This is the north and west elevations of the new convenience store. And this is the east and south elevation of the convenience store. Some of the approval criteria, I just wanted to highlight 3 of them. The first of which being is this SUP in the interest of the public convenience, and will it not have a significant adverse impact on the general welfare of the neighborhood or community? This criteria B, I said the proposal is in general interest of the public convenience by improving the site design and moving the convenience store closer to the southern property line. The proposal also expands the square footage of the building, adds more landscaping around the site, and will benefit the public's general welfare through greater building area and more inventory in the convenience store, as well as aesthetic placemaking via quality landscaping on Nicholson and North Montgall. Criteria D is this compatible with the character of the surrounding area in terms of operating characteristics, such as hours of operation, outdoor lighting, noise, and traffic generation? I said that the plan is compatible with the character of the surrounding area in terms of some of these operating characteristics. The proposed lighting will be shielded from the residential uses to the south by the convenience store and landscaping buffers along the southern border. Noise production is not expected to change from the existing gasoline and fuel station. While 24 hours may create a conflict with the neighboring residential uses, the hours of operation are not changing from what is currently existing at this site. This SUP has an expiration date of 2 years per condition number 8. So at the time of renewal, it will require public engagement, and we can learn more about how that 24-hour time is affecting nearby properties, if at all. And then criteria E, will this SUP not have a significant adverse impact on pedestrian safety or comfort? I just said there are no plans to remove or relocate any curb cuts along the main roadway of North Montgall and Nicholson, but the addition of landscaping on all sides allows for a safer buffer from the public right-of-way for pedestrians walking in the interior of the site from the canopies to the convenience store. And then I just wanted to quickly highlight some of the conditions on here. Condition 6 is prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy, CD CLN 2026-10 must have an approved status. This condition does ensure the compliance with the nonconformity section of for gasoline and fuel cell stations. So since that CLN application is currently under review, it's just going to need to be approved prior to the issuance of a C of O. And then I just wanted to once again highlight that the SUP has expiration date of 2 years after the disposition letter, post this hearing, BZA, and then 10 days after that, when the disposition letter is granted. And with that, the staff recommendation is approval with conditions. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. If you could stop sharing, please. Are there any questions for city staff? Are we safe to assume, it was hard to tell, but that there's enough clearance for the parking spots and the canopy, the ones that are kind of closest together, that someone's reviewed that and made sure it doesn't create conflict?
As in how close they are to the canopies?
Yeah, I just couldn't tell if some of the spots on the south east were close enough that it would create issues where someone filling up gas would block in, cars from being able to back out or pull out.
We had our Public Works Transportation staff look at it, Jeffrey Bryan. He didn't have any concerns about it. When I looked at the site, I didn't have many concerns, but I guess that is probably something to consider, especially if you have like large trucks coming in to that far eastern canopy.
Yeah, if there's
So I
a way
understand
to look at it again before it goes to BZA, it just seems like if I were to look at I don't know, little rectangle and imagine it going out, that in theory, someone at the fuel pump on the furthest east side would potentially block those parking spots.
Yeah, I can talk to Dana can probably speak to that as well, but we can talk about it before BZA next week.
Any further questions for city staff on docket item number 5?
Yeah, just confirming there's no setbacks required on this project or site.
No, in an M1-5, there are no minimum setbacks.
Yeah, okay.
And then is the property to the south, was that purchased by the same owner?
I'm not sure who it was purchased by. I do know that demolition permits were pulled though, and I'm not sure if it has officially been demolished at this point, but they're not combining the lots or anything.
Okay. All right, if there are no further questions at this time, we will welcome the applicant.
And there you
Hello. Well, I think Alex said most of it. I do realize that it's a little tight on that southeastern corner, but it's actually larger than it is currently. So that issue, I don't think is a problem, utilizing the same entrance way that we have. There hasn't been any issues for fueling or uh, cross fueling and entrance drive conflicts. So I don't think that's really an issue. We're trying to make this neighborhood a little bit better. The current building is getting pretty dilapidated, and things are the reason why we're tearing it down so we can put a new one in. The owner had purchased the property and demolished the house to the south, and so we're utilizing that space. He also had an offer to purchase the property one more farther south, and he's contemplating that. There was a lot of homelessness, people going into these houses and starting fires inside the house, and it was a real nightmare of situation trying to alleviate that. And the owners cleaned it up pretty good. It was being leased by a gentleman that his lease is up, and now the current owner has taken over the management of the property and has cleaned it up quite a bit from what it was. So he's pretty confident that homelessness won't happen in the future. We did have neighborhood meeting, and one of the comments was loitering around the property, and that's been addressed, and he hasn't had that issue anymore. So anyway.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions for the applicant?
Yeah, just a couple of questions. What's on your building elevations? Kind of what color scheme are you using on this?
Well, it's going to be earth tones, very, very muted. Just, I think, I don't know if he had the first view of it, the first page. I think it was actually the striping that we had on the first page was incorrect. It's still going to stay red striping for the brand, but pretty much browns and earth tones on that. So,
Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure it's not the colors that are indicated on the current elevation plans that I
no,
see.
that, yeah, that's a CAD thing. Sorry.
Okay. Going back to that south property line with that one corner being right on the property line and the other one being 5 3/4 inches off the property line. How do you, how are they going to maintain that back there? Is it grass? Is there a fence or is there anything back there to kind of give some separation between the convenience store and the house to the south? Or what's the thought process there? I know there's not a requirement for setbacks, but you got a commercial building that's right on the property line next to a house that's only a couple of feet off of their property line. So just want to see some kind of buffer or something there.
Sure, that's a good point, and it occurs, like you say, in a point. So, I believe there's enough room to go from one end of the west side to get back there. Um, like I said, the owner has asked me if I thought he should buy that property to the south, which would help in that, which I think we probably will do. But if that doesn't happen, that's a good point. We hadn't planned on putting a fence as it wasn't required, and he's got cooperation with the neighbors to the south, so uh, we do have planting there, and
Yeah, I mean, that's my concern because you made
yeah.
a statement that there's some loitering and some other issues of that nature around this facility or the houses there. I mean, this makes it even more difficult to have some maintenance of that or kind of control to move people on or whatever needs to happen there. So it seems like you'd want to do something back there to kind of help protect yourself.
Sure, mostly the loitering was actually towards the front of the building at the front entrance, which was happening. People were sitting on the curbs and eating, sitting on the curbs, uh, eating whatever they purchased, but not really so much behind the building. Um, so
Yeah,
I think that's a good point, and we do have lighting back there for nighttime and video cameras, making sure people aren't back there, and so that's about the best we can do. Whether it's 5 inches away from the property line or 5 feet from the property line, you would have the same case. So uh, I think we'll control it with security like that.
Yeah, and the lighting is my next question because it looks like all of it spills into this property to the south. It'd be kind of hard to live there with a spotlight right on your windows all night and that. So um, I would strongly encourage purchasing that property to the south so you can integrate it into your development and use it for maybe that's where your trash is located, or you got some fencing buffering back there that you can actually control there and still be able to do everything you want to do on your commercial side. Um, so
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll pass that on.
Yeah, Chair Carl, I appreciate those questions because I was misunderstanding the situation. I thought I didn't realize that the building is being placed on the property where the demolished building is, and so therefore this is abutting
Yeah.
a property. And to your point, the site illumination plan. Uh, Hard to imagine being in a house where you have commercial lighting that's pouring into your property that way. So I mean I guess I understand that the zoning allows for it. It's tough to understand how the zoning would allow for that type of illumination plan next to a residential property, though.
We are doing the cutoff lights, so they're going down, not out, so we are attempting to alleviate that problem, but you should be by the neighborhood at night. I've been there, and the streetlights are brighter than what we would be doing, so I think it's safe to say it's not an issue, but anyway.
Any other questions for the applicant at this time before we open it up for public testimony? All right, then we'll open it up for public testimony. If you're wishing to speak on docket item number 5, please come forward or raise your hand on Zoom.
No one has raised their hand on Zoom or appears in person.
All right, we'll close public testimony. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's really difficult to approve the project without the property owner to the south saying, yes, I'm in favor of this, just because I cannot, I mean, there's so few instances where you can build up to the property line next to a residential property that happens to have such a small buffer and that has an illumination plan that looks like it does. Fully understand what the applicant's saying about other ambient lighting, but it'd feel a lot better for me, at least, if we had acknowledgement from the property owner to the south that they are not protesting the application.
I would think their absence at this meeting kind of indicates that.
So just for full clarity, are we recommending that we continue this with the intention to have further engagement with the property owner to the south?
I'm just kind of talking out loud, so that way we can get your all's opinions.
Was that property owner noticed?
All properties within 300 feet of the property line were noticed.
How many notices
Yeah.
go out?
It looks to me like the property owner is not necessarily one that lives there. They're like a company that rents the space out.
Understood.
And to answer your question, we send out one notice for the city, but then the applicant is supposed to send out their own notices as well for the public engagement meeting. So, I mean, it's very likely, like Chair Crowell said, that the owner doesn't actually live on the property, and it sounds like, as Dana mentioned, that it was maybe leased out and that lease is over. I don't know if we should or want to continue it. I don't know if I can condition that they purchase that lot, though.
Yeah, I don't think that would be a good condition. I think Commissioner Lynch might be right. That in some instances, I feel as though neighbors underestimate the value of their voice in this type of situation, and so they think there's nothing that can be done or should be said. But I think if this is an investment property where the owner isn't residing there and is looking for a new tenant, then maybe it's okay to proceed. All right. Any other thoughts, comments, questions before we look for a motion? And applicant, is there anything else you'd wish to add?
Well, we did, request we did have a neighborhood meeting, and all the comments were positive, having this property built, and the neighbors to the south are pretty much, we don't see people coming in and out of it, so I don't even know if it's being used, but like you said, they've had the opportunity to comment, and I put in my letter, my phone number and my email address, and the opportunity to come to the meeting, and no one showed up to it. I think I sent out 32 notices, and out of those 32, we had, I think, 5 people comment that via email or phone calls, and they were all positive towards getting something done on this corner and getting a better building. And so that's That's all I can say. Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, we'll close all testimony, and if there is not any discussion, I'll look for a motion.
I'm just going to state that the way it is drawn up now, I think there should be some kind of, I know there's a zero setback and, for the project as a whole to do something there to beautify it and that, but I still think there should be some kind of access to the back to maintain that, or to help curb activity in some ways, and also the lighting, I think, is a concern. So as it's presented right now, I'm not in favor, and mainly because it goes through this body and then it goes through the BZA, and that's it. So I would like to see some tweaking done just to try to provide some kind of access there, or a commitment that it is going to get purchased or something like that. Just so we have a little bit better design and take into account what the neighbors may have.
Yeah, sorry, because I know I said we'd close all testimony. So question for city staff, with zero lot line properties, what is the expectation and thought process on how property is maintained, both from a security standpoint and, when you're painting the building or repairing, the idea that you would have to access other people's property to maintain your own property? What's the way that we should be thinking about that?
I mean, you have to use other people's property to get around it unless you have other points of access on either side of this building in particular. But I mean, on a holistic view of zero lot line, I'm actually not quite sure.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I guess my question is on that south area, like where you're right up against the house, whether it's purchased or not purchased, or someone's in it or not in it. I guess my question is because it's commercial going to residential, wouldn't you need even a 4-foot buffer? You know what I mean? Something to give that, a little bit of, just to alleviate that a little. It just seems very tight.
Yeah.
And so the setback requirement is based on zoning district, and that whole block to the south is also zoned M1, which is why there's no setback along that southern property line.
That just seems like a miss on the city's part because that's not M1, that's residential.
Right.
I mean, it's very clearly residential. All of those are houses. So I'm I'm in the same boat as Chair Crowell here. Sure, if it was one house and then a bunch of businesses south, then sure, that would make a little bit more sense. But I feel like at a minimum, either some sort of buffer there or something showing that 838 is being purchased by this client or this applicant.
And it may be worth a conversation with Dana to, if possible, move the building up a few feet. I mean, even looking at the site plan, you can see that the trees that are proposed are, I mean, one of them's going into the house, so.
Yeah.
I would also agree with a buffer.
I just think that if it complies with the code and no one's here complaining about what he's doing, I don't know why we're making it an issue.
Yeah, I feel like I need more information about the idea behind building to the lot line. And, of course, there are lots of different types of commercial buildings where they abut each other and it works really well and it makes sense. And then, of course, we wouldn't want to run into a situation where if someone could build up against it, and of course, that'd be the second applicant. So you'd know what the existing conditions are. You wouldn't want to create areas that are never accessible. And perhaps maybe that just depends on who the applicant is first, and it's not worth considering a theoretical situation.
I do have one question. What is the future land use for that area?
1 second, I can tell you. The future land use for the gas station site and the houses to the south are all commercial.
Okay, then I'm fine without the buffer then. I think it's intended to be not residential.
Any other thoughts?
I'm in favor with the buffer, and just kind of looking at Google Maps and looking at the profile of that house, it looks like there are windows that are on that face of the building. So regardless of whether or not someone's living there, thinking of either someone that currently lives there or there's a future tenant, not sure if it would be the best practice to have a building that is literally within arm's reach of, you know, opening your window of that house. So having the buffer, I think, helps alleviate that, kind of resolve some of the issues that are being addressed here, and then allows for a landscaping buffer to kind of sort of more soften that transition.
Yeah, I'm either leaning towards buffer or going the opposite direction and doing what you would do in a city, which is like brownstone style, where you have a shared wall.
Yeah, well, and so there's a kind of a couple terms that I think would be helpful here, because we're talking about zero lot line, but I think like thinking of that's more of like looking at the plat and the property lines, but like think of this as like the architecture too. So what I think we're typically thinking of is like dependent versus independent architecture. Dependent architecture is where you have two walls that abut each other, and those walls are very plain and meant to or have some expectation of development in the future. Neither the building that's being proposed nor the house are what we would consider dependent architecture. They're both independent, meant to be fully separated and looked at from all four sides of the building. So I think we should treat this, even though it is a zero lot line condition, as two independent buildings and sort of plan accordingly.
Question for the applicant, you might not know, but would there be a preference for if it looked like the commission was in favor of a buffer, which might not be the case, but if that were the case, then would you prefer that it be conditioned, or would you prefer to come back and rethink? Because I imagine, you know, this could be something it's an easy enough adjustment, or it might change your site plan enough that it requires more rework.
Well, you know, we do have a buffer, and we did choose to not go directly right smack dab on the property line, which we could have done. So we did create a buffer by the zigzag of the walls. If you go back looking at the plan, we are attempting to have some sort of buffer with landscaping and the zigzag of the building. It's not that we put it just.
Understanding that, if the commissioners still wanted to see more of a buffer, then would you prefer to have it conditioned and you could make adjustments to the plan, or is it something where you need to come back and we'd need to continue the case?
Well, I'd prefer it to be a condition.
Okay.
I do have another question. Is there a reason the building isn't kind of parallel with rotated parallel with the lot line? Because then your bumps actually give a buffer to the existing building, right? So that way it's not kind of like so, you know, you have the kind of double bump there. So if we turn it where your south west corner is basically corner of that lot line, your building is not abutting, it's abutting the property over there, but it's stepping back at the existing residence over there, which gives it some space. And just looking at it, it doesn't seem to affect anything. Your fuel tanks are underground, so you can still have your parking spaces above that. I guess that's my only question. Was there a reason for this?
Well, the idea was that we try to keep it as close to the gas pumps as possible, you know, so that walking distance would be.
Well, this would be moving it closer to the gas pumps.
You would be moving the entrance farther away.
I mean, by maybe
I think what he's talking about is effectively taking the, let me see here, north west corner of the building and using that as an access point to rotate the building. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
How would you get it? Right now, if you take the farthest east entrance and the parking, that's the defining point, correct? If you rotated it, I'm not sure I'm following you,
Where do
how
you lose your
that
point?
would work.
If you
More of a
rotate the
rotation
east
from-
side of the building up, you're going to lose those parking spots, aren't you?
So if we do this, if we were to take the southeast or southwest corner, right? That's the southwest, right? This is plan. Yeah. If we were to take the southwest corner of your building, plop it right on the property line there, on the corner of the property line, and then rotate the building so it was perpendicular or parallel with the south property line, keep the design with the bumps and all that, your door maybe moves slightly away from the pumps, but you now have two walls touching the property line, one on the alley side, one on the south side, but in the corner just so that it's back by the kind of yard and carport, not touching the existing building, existing home. So you're still abutting the property there, but you're rotating it so that's what it looks, I mean, I can't do it.
Aren't you going to lose the buffer that you've got over on the west side, though? Which is really what you're concerned about, because people do live over there.
But that's an alleyway. So you have a 15-foot alleyway. So you don't need a buffer on the alleyway. You have that buffer naturally. So I don't care if the building is right up against the property on the alleyway. And then over here, they would probably much rather have the back of a cooler, so it's a solid wall along their backyard. If anyone ever bought this, there's no windows there. It's basically a fence for them to their backyard, but allows now, if this offset is, if this is 3 foot, you're probably 6 foot there and then 6 foot there. So you're almost 12 foot away from your existing building over here. So you're stepping it back this way.
Yeah, but it sounds like you're asking him to redesign his entire.
I'm asking to rotate it.
I think Commissioner Lynch's point about the parking, I imagine you'd lose of those 3 spots in the front, which might not be material on the furthest east. So the 3 parking spots that are furthest east would then be in the drive lane. But again, that might not be material. Are you getting a sense for what the commissioner is asking about rotating the building so that it's flush with the property line?
I am. I wish we could share that site plan again.
Sure.
Alec, I
We'll
don't
pull
know
it
if
up.
you share it, but
Yeah, I'm just going to suggest that we continue this to allow the applicant to take another look at building the way it sits, any buffering if that's possible or anything of that nature. Because yeah, I don't think we should be the ones trying to design that on his behalf or lay that out for him. I think we just need to make sure our concerns are stated, to let them take a look at that and then come back with a different presentation.
And Chairman Crow, you are in favor of continuing over conditioning in a minimum buffer?
Yeah, I think so, because now, it's been talked about doing a rotation or whatever. I'd rather the applicant take a look at his own project and site and see what works for them, to provide some kind of buffering between their building and that residential to the south, as well as the lighting, that doesn't go on to the other properties like we ask as part of the standards. That's all I'm asking, is let them take a look at it,
well,
give another opportunity.
can I just jump in again now that I'm looking at it?
Sure.
If we rotated that and had the southwest corner of the building at the southwest corner of the property line, we would lose probably about 5 parking spaces because of that entry. And the parking spaces would be on top of the tanks then, and the distance between the pump that you were concerned about before would be eliminated. You wouldn't have any distance at all to get through. So you'd lose 5, at least 5 spaces by doing that. And truth be told, I tried doing that and that just does not work. And, all due respect, that gives you less of a buffer than what we have now. If you look at the landscaping, you would eliminate all those bushes to the southwest.
Right, but
Um,
what I'm saying is my concern, and I'm leaning with the chair's recommendation, but what I'm saying is you're buffering in a spot that doesn't need buffering. You don't need buffering at an alleyway. You don't need buffering at a backyard where you're having a wall. You need the buffering at the existing residence.
I don't know if necessarily the orientation of the building is the most important factor here. It's more so getting that buffer between the building and the two buildings that are here. So whether or not the building is orthogonal to the site or it's angled, I think that's neither here nor there. It's getting that buffer. So I think the applicant knows the details of this more intimately than we do. Yeah, I think if we need to continue this further.
I'm more inclined to agree with Commissioner Lynch. But as I look at this, as we're trying to, as the city's decided to take a different look at this use in terms of from a septed perspective, I do think that the two diagonal places that are created adjacent to this property are somewhat problematic, and that it creates these little alcoves, which would be very difficult to see from the street because of the angle. So if you're from the street and eyes on the street are supposed to be, helpful, we've created kind of a spot that would be more difficult to, I don't know, ensure that there's nothing happening that you don't want to be happening back there.
Yeah, and that second bump, you can't even, how would you get there if someone built a fence on their private property, getting into that little alcove is impossible. There's no doors entering into that little alcove C or whatever you would call it. So technically you would have a little weird cove there.
That is a good point. Yeah.
So at this point, I think it feels like majority commissioners are hoping to continue this. Applicant, I think there's an interest in seeing this approved at some point, but some modifications need to be made. Can we stop sharing? Sorry, what was that?
well, that's my alarm going off.
Oh, so we'll be looking to continue this. Do you have a sense of how much time is needed? My initial interest would be continuing to the June 17th meeting.
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Everything's going wacky here. My security alarm went off. Ask me that again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it seems that a majority of the commissioners, for one reason or another, would like to see this continued, and we'll explain what we'd like to see when this comes back. Do you have would the June 17th meeting would that work for you?
I guess if it has to. So what you're saying is if I was to build the building right to the property line, there wouldn't have been an issue, right?
That would solve a few issues. I can't be 100% certain that would be approved, but it seems like that would solve two of the issues. One is that the angles of the building create some areas that are difficult to see from the street and that provide some security issues. And then the second is that there's been, yes, an expressed interest in having more of a buffer closer to where the residence is, one, for maintenance and access, but secondly, because of the lighting. Lights spilling into a backyard are going to be deemed less obtrusive than light spilling into windows.
Right. Okay. Looks like we need to buy that property. That would solve everything.
I would absolutely solve it.
Quick
Yeah.
question, would just throwing it out there, like I'm not sure how high of a fence they could be put there. Would a fence solve that so they wouldn't have to buy that property?
A really, really tall fence. I don't think that would solve the problem.
But landscaping is going to be difficult to even grow there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right in between two buildings. Like, that would be impossible.
And then maintaining it is impossible. Like no one can get in there.
So asking for a buffer to me is, I mean, it's asking for this guy to grow things where things won't grow.
Well,
I just feel kind of
I don't need
bad
a landscape
to
buffer.
force him to buy a property.
I think part of it's the buffer, part of it's the light spillover, and the other part's the these alcoves that are created. Those are the three things that I think we'll address in the continuance. And yeah.
I agree with the buffer. I understand that nobody's here complaining, but this is not the first time that somebody missed a notice. So, but yeah, I wouldn't want a wall next to my window. So I think a buffer makes sense.
All right, I'll look for a motion.
Okay. With this motion then, for continuance, just going to make sure that it's clear that I'm going to just mention the things to be addressed, and I'll let the applicant, kind of come up with some solutions for those. So with that, I'm going to move to continue docket item number 5 to June 17th with the intention to address lighting spillover, the proximity to between the new building and the existing building to the south. And then the alcoves that were created in the original design.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to continue docket item number 5 to June 17th. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Arkin,
Aye.
Crowell,
Aye.
Enders,
Aye.
Forbes,
Aye.
Hasek,
Aye.
Lynch,
Aye.
Morel,
Aye.
and Padilla.
Aye.
All right, it's been
Can I ask a question?
sure.
Does that push the BZA meeting then?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It'll push it to the 24th of June, potentially.
Okay.
So this has been continued to June 17th. And again, when we come back, we're looking to see that the project that addresses those items that the commissioner brought up.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay.
That concludes all regularly docketed items. Is there anything else that needs to be covered?
Nothing from city planning.
Then is there a motion to adjourn?
So
Motion to
moved.
adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, we're adjourned. Thank you all.
So this is kind of a wild idea, but I feel like a tool that could be helpful, especially for cases like this, is if we have something that like an iPad or a tablet or something that has a pin that is connected to the meeting that we can draw on, so that when we're trying to discuss orientations of buildings or like site components.
Kind of like they do on the NFL stuff.
Yeah. Oh, they muted it.
Yeah. I guess so. We'll
All
see
right.
you.
See ya.